Welcome to the Alpha Nerd Podcast. I'm your main host, Kyle, with my nerd co-host, Dan.
I don't like you, Kyle.
I know you don't.
Hello.
Yeah, just because you're too stupid.
Not as stupid as other people you know.
Yeah. So this is going to be a new section where we're going to just talk about general nerdy stuff, comic books, movies, ideas and stuff, and we're going to start this with one of the things I feel is most important in any movie is the villain and or antagonist of a movie, film, book, you name it.
Yeah, we tried this before.
Well, yeah, we're experimenting. So, one of the biggest things for any story is you need an antagonist. There, like we talked about before, there's not much of a hero's journey unless there's some kind of antagonist.
Yeah. Well, some movies don't have a hero's journey at all.
That's true too.
But we don't want to get into Star Wars again. So let's not do that.
Yeah. So one of the things that sparked my interest in this is I have, in the last couple of movies we watched, an incredible disdain for overly sympathetic villains, especially when they're very established antagonists slash villains, to not be sympathetic at all for no reason.
Are we talking specifically about Quantum Mania?
Quantum Mania, there's quite a few of them. Last Quantum Mania, Ant-Man and Wasp. I guess Marvel movies in general have really started to lean into all their villains need to be relatable or sympathetic.
Well, the She-Hulk villain wasn't really sympathetic.
No.
It was just like she wasn't there very often.
Yeah, she was just around.
And that version, that's not Titania. That's some other person.
Yeah, the influencer known as Titania.
And that's ridiculous.
So that's kind of what sparked me. So I talked to you about it, and like me and you had a good long discussion where we came up with like we're going to talk about the groups of villains slash antagonists, and good ones versus bad ones. Things they do right and things they do wrong. So we'll start with the first category, the evil force, which can fall under good thing I can edit this.
We originally got this from a list we found on the internet, which was 28 different types of villains. And you find out that we figured out that basically that's too many. There's almost no any villain in a movie or a opponent in a movie is never one thing, generally speaking, unless it's like a kid's movie or a cartoon or something.
Yes, and with that, we've kind of made a 3-section overarching archetype for them because that allows us to be able to be a little more generalized instead of have to go through all 28 points.
Because there's some like and villains who aren't in modern cinema that much, or like Doctor Doom was the one we were talking about.
Yeah,
he is like 10 different archetypes at once,
easily,
depending on what you want to be.
So like I said, we'll get back to it. The first one I came up with is for the overall categories is the evil force, which for the specific categories that they put in, I put the beast, the machine, and the evil incarnate. Which for this category, the antagonist is some kind of either force, object, or just power that really does not
think about stuff.
Yeah, think about stuff. They're just doing what they do. I mean, there's ones that do think about it, like the devil himself. He's evil incarnate. He thinks, but he's just evil incarnate. He's going to do just evil things for the sake of evil.
Right. So
where like the beast falls under the xenomorphs from Aliens. H.R. Geiger.
Right. Aliens.
Where they're just
exactly.
They're the antagonists, but they're just animals that kill constantly.
They can figure stuff out, but they only want to do one thing.
Kill and reproduce.
Right.
and then the machine, which is the best one, Skynet.
Skynet, yeah.
Skynet, it's easy
And
one.
by extension, Terminators.
Yes, which are part of Skynet.
And what was it? Doomsday.
Yeah,
is the comic book
is
version.
a great comic book version of the Beast or the Force. He is just a incarnate. Like he's not planning things out. He's just doing what he does. The Matrix. Machines for the Matrix.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so there's a lot of them. So now we're gonna jump into like, since we made a couple good ones.
Because that one's pretty simple. It's not.
Yeah, it doesn't need
Jaws.
To be, yep, Jaws. Like it doesn't need to be discussed. Like there's not like with all them. Like the only one that would have maybe an overall goal would be the evil incarnate, which would fall under like Satan or something like that, where it's an evil malevolent force that has like an end goal, but it's not like a understandable end goal, like get richer. It's just like more victims or pass the curse. Good one. The curse from Grudge.
Or you mentioned that one.
Like the very first, and this is actually a good one. That whole antagonistic force is really good because it never really ends because it's all based off the shittiness of people, and it just never gets any better.
So it's like a weird Japanese version of Original Sin,
more or less.
Somehow,
yeah.
Is it stuck to one specific location?
No.
That is
originally in the first movie it was, but then you find out it's more of a.
Is that the one with the shower with the hand coming out of their head and all that?
I think so. I can't quite remember. It's been so long since I watched the first one, but
because I've never seen a Japanese one, but the original American one was.
Yeah, So why I feel that's a good one for the Force, Evil Force section is the first movie they go through all the trouble. The main character, she goes through all the trouble of trying to fix it, trying to do something to help the ghosts. Like they, standard plot, like, oh, the ghost just has some unfinished business.
Why is she doing it? Why doesn't she go to professionals? It should be like the Japanese version of The Exorcist.
Yes, but the problem is,
where are the Shinto priests and when?
Because nobody wants to go in that. Because everyone thought it was just go in that house. If you went in that house, it was gonna, that was it. Once you go in the house, you were infected and you were gonna die.
Really?
Yeah.
There's no holy man or woman.
No, not until the second movie, and then even then they were like more like, hey, yeah, we like they went to like the one Shinto shrine where the priestess could like try to. And then you get backstory as like the main chick who started the curse in the first movie was like the priestess's daughter, and they were feeding her the evil and other curses into her, and that's they tried to give it more backstory, and then
so it's like a nuclear reactor of curses,
more or less, yes.
Where they just keep feeding more material to it.
Yeah, and then when she died, and unclean death, because the original concept of the movie is if you died in a horrible way, all your hate, malice, and anger would turn into the grudge, and then it just was like a never-ending cycle. So then the second movie was more like, oh, they gave it a backstory where like she was fed so many curses that it kind of, when she died, it all got released, and that's how it started.
So it's kind of like a manufactured version of Damien.
Yes.
From what's that movie called?
Omen.
The Omen?
Yes.
So it's kind of like a manufactured Damien, except humans did it instead of...
Yeah.
Kinda?
Yeah.
Did they sacrifice people?
No, but it was like...
They just took the people with the most traumatized backgrounds and just had them die in that house?
No, Like, the priestess would go to all the places that were cursed.
Oh.
And then she'd do this ritual that would turn the curse into, like, a black goo, and then her daughter would
Why would she do that?
Because... reason.
Is there a reason why she did that in the first place?
It was just like the priestess power thing. Like, if you see a lot of these games, like,
so this is like a standard like Japanese anime concept where they do stuff for no reason.
Yeah, more or less.
Because I'm evil because I'm evil.
So like, all right. So for some reason, in a lot of Japanese-made games, animes, and stuff like that, The priestess and priestess.
Uh-huh.
The priest and priestesses have to do like horrible things to people to help other curses. Like the Fatal Frame is a great example of this. All right.
Uh-huh.
So the first game was the blind shrine maiden
Mm-hmm.
thing. So they took this chick, they left her in seclusion in this fortress slash village. She was never allowed to like create connections with people.
Mm-hmm.
That way, she would never be corrupted by people or have any feeling earthly attachment. So when they sacrifice her, because everything in this sect of Shintoism, especially in the Fatal Frame universe, you have to sacrifice people for one reason or another. So
That's not how Shinto works, but okay.
what they would do, no lie, what they would do is it's so crazy. They would leave her secluded,
Like from the day she was born?
pretty much.
So she was a like a mute, crazy person?
Yeah, pretty much. That's what they're going for.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy. And then they would have 4 priests jam on these masks that have giant spikes in the eyes,
Uh-huh.
jam them onto their faces.
What?
They would also take the priestess, and break her arms and legs with giant bloody ropes. Like they'd rip her, and then they would tie her to a rock, and then have her look into an evil mirror, and that's how you'd stop it. Or no, that's the second game. The first one, well, they had her look into an evil mirror too. But then they would take the bloody ropes that they used to pretty much rip her in pieces and break her apart, and then tie it to this giant door to keep evil in.
Why?
Right? Because that's how this works.
That's not how Shinto works. It's literally not.
In this sect of Shintoism,
You gotta.
it does. So then the second game was this sect of Shintoism believed that twins, all right, were like unwhole people, like yin and yang. If someone was born a twin, they were incomplete.
Yeah, okay.
So they would always have the first twin kill the second twin, then put them in a box and throw them into a pit.
What the heck? What?
To stop evil, to make them whole.
How are they? No.
It gets so much better.
It just doesn't make that is not what Shinto's about.
I know, but in the Fatal Frame universe, oh my
Apparently,
god,
wow,
every sect is just crazy. So then, Maid of Blackwater was also crazy. Oh, there was one where they had a tattoo one, where you get this evil tattoo, and then the whole the maiden would be like blinded, and all this other crazy stuff, and then they would take the blood of all these innocent victims to make these tattoos on this woman, and then her power is as long as she didn't do something, as long as she didn't let the tattoos make it to her eyes, the evil force would be held off for another 100 years. They're crazy. I love the games. They're crazy.
Is that the one where you walk around the ghost house or whatever?
Yep, and then you have to take pictures of ghosts.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. They're crazy. So then, now we're going to move on to the second category, which we'll be able to talk a little more back and forth on, which is the relatable.
Well, don't call it relatable, because that's the one you've been criticizing the whole time. Like, there's a difference between relatable and there's understandable stuff, but you can't have a villain that's relatable.
Okay.
Unless it's like a pure revenge thing.
Okay.
Like, if it's pure revenge, you
I
can
know
understand
I was bitching about it, but that's because they were taking villains that were already established for their motivations and trying to make them relatable.
Right.
And it came across poor for it. Like, there's villains that, they had established. Then they're like, let's make them relatable or sympathetic.
What examples do you have?
Ghost from Ant-Man and Wasp.
Oh, yeah.
That at first she was, like, when they introduced her, like, they were doing what she normally does. Corporate espionage, stealing stuff to make money, for one reason or another. And then it turned into the whole weird Goliath secretly having her steal stuff because she's dying. So instead of just asking Hank Pym for help, the guy who knows
we discussed this.
Yes, we did. But Ghost from Ant-Man and Wasp is one.
Mm-hmm. What's the one? I can't think of him.
Taskmaster.
Oh yeah, that.
they took Taskmaster and
the
turned it into a
the bad design notwithstanding,
lobotomized, sympathetic robot chick.
that's just bad. That just ruins the character. It's not.
Yes, but that's
it's bad writing too.
But that's what I'm saying is, and
it has to be the girl that she thought she let die. That's the problem I have with that whole thing. But
yeah,
that's
my
whatever.
thing is just like they were trying to create a way for you to feel bad for this character, and then first of all, the character was never written to be feel bad for this person. It was written to be someone who was awesome and use their awesome abilities for self.
Well, I don't like it for the fact that it makes the character not have any really control over her actions. It's kind of like, a Deus Ex Machina, which basically just the hand of God and they make them do stuff.
Yeah.
It's basically a tool for the filmmakers to do what they want, which has nothing to do with the character itself.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by like that's the kind of writing I hate because they've been doing it more and more.
Yeah, it's just it's just making the filmmaker do whatever they want.
Ooh.
That's why the loss of James Gunn in Marvel was such a bad thing.
Yeah, you know another good one? Mysterio from the Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh gosh, that guy.
Like the concept was good, what they were doing was good, but the backstory they gave to them wasn't as good.
Well, I didn't have sympathy from the whole time because he was lying to everyone and making Spider-Man out to be a terrible. There's no sympathy for that guy.
Yeah. But they were trying to give him a backstory to make him.
Well, that's an example of one that failed.
Yeah, like make him more understandable. Like, oh, Mysterio is just a group of disgruntled Stark Stark Industry employees.
Was it Stark Industry?
Yes, it was all Stark Industry.
I forgot. I thought it was Shield.
Nope, Stark Industry, and then they took all the weapons and stuff that Tony Stark and Obadiah Stane weren't paying attention to and created.
Oh, they were pissed off because Stark didn't make weapons anymore.
Yeah, and they all got fired and axed, and so they went through all this to create like a hero and make money and craziness.
I like Jake Gyllenhaal in that.
Oh, like I said, if they would have left it, if he was just like
he plays a good villain because he comes off as charming, but you could feel
the douche. He's a charming douche. Like I liked him as an actor. He was great in it, but it just the whole Like I was hoping it'd be more like the original thing. Like they kind of did with this whole stage play, but it was all big. It was all a big.
And the other problem with it,
con to try to get the glasses that.
Well, the other problem with it was all the major action scenes were next to that one bridge. Why is that? That was weird.
Because it's the best bridge.
I go, they couldn't get to another location. I'm like, really? Yeah. Okay.
The greatest antagonist I have for this category, though, is one you know as well as I do. Magneto.
Good old Magneto.
Oh, so good.
He is good. And too bad he couldn't be in Age of Ultron.
And win instantly.
Yeah, exactly, but
right.
That would ruin the movie, I understand. But so did Quicksilver. Death for no reason.
Yes.
I am super fast, but I will just take bullets for some reason.
Right. I could dodge these.
I could have dodged them and put a car door in front of anybody, but no, I decided not to.
Yeah. So these villains always have either a motivation or they're victim of circumstance. And even though this is kind of my least favorite category for any antagonist or villain, there are really good ones.
Well, you have under the original list, which is 28. You said Corrupted.
Yeah.
So that would be Two-Face.
Yep.
Because he used to be an idealistic district attorney, but then he
got burned.
Went crazy and used all that stuff for bad ends and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, and he's probably one of my favorite Batman villains now because Joker is just getting old. But
yeah.
But
Joker's really good, but he's overdone, like you said. Good one I also have for Corrupted. Darth Vader.
Oh yeah, it's a good one.
He started out as a Jedi and then slowly but surely Palpatine got to him and eventually corrupted him.
Of course, we can always put Condiment King under there. I'm kidding, of course.
I know. So
I just can't believe he's a Batman villain. That's all.
What about with a cause? Like good villains with a cause.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
Well, it's mostly like political. I can't think of anything right off the top of my head. I don't know. Well, Poison Ivy, but
yeah.
But hers is more like a fanatic thing. Because she doesn't like people that much, which wasn't treated well, so she kind of a victim sort of thing. And then she got, like, what was it? Floronic Man was her professor, and he, like, dumped her for some reason. I forget what the reason. That's a weird one.
This is one here. Voldemort. Now, his cause was kind of more of a Hitlery douchebag cause, but...
Is his the same as that other guy from the Fantastic Beasts thing, kind of? Or not? Or is it more like his selfish one?
Yeah, no, it was exactly almost...
Except he was the one supposed to be in charge, not the other guy. Oh, okay.
So that's Voldemort was a really good one.
Trying to think of causes that are evil guys, though.
Yeah, like they...
That's a hard one. I can't...
Yeah, like they have an end goal for like...
Because most of them are like narcissistic.
Yeah.
Like, technically Lex Luthor could fall under this category if you think of him as a guy who doesn't want aliens taking over the human race.
Yeah, he wants a better humanity, so he...
But he's the one who has to be in charge.
Yeah.
Because everyone else is dumb.
Yeah. So that's a good one.
Unfortunately, most of my examples are from comic books.
Yeah, they are. I'm trying to think. There was a villain that was like killing people and doing evil crap to keep a bigger evil force at bay. There's a lot of those.
Yeah, is that like an anime or is that something else?
Yeah, it could be any number of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, if you want to get, interstellar about it, Galactus.
Yeah.
If you want to get into that.
Yeah, that's a good one, Galactus.
If anybody doesn't know, Galactus eats planets to stop celestials.
It's even bigger, angrier.
Even bigger, angrier gods from coming out of planets.
Yep.
Which is crazy.
Blade Runner.
Yeah.
The robot guys from Blade Runner.
Replicants.
The replicants, they become more and more self-aware and more human-like, so their goal is to keep themselves alive, not be murdered. That's always a good one. Hey, Galactus.
Galactus.
Yep.
Not the weird, cloudy one from the second Fantastic Four movie.
Yes.
The guy in the big purple outfit.
Now, the one that was a good one that Marvel did that I liked.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about him.
Killmonger. Killmonger was an excellent version of a sympathetic or relatable villain.
He's also kind of a mirror and a bunch of other things.
Yeah, he falls into a bunch of categories, but his motivation, like, they did him right in the movie.
Yeah.
Where they've done a lot of other ones. Like, his motivation was, like, really understandable. It was really well written. It wasn't like...
And my thing, and I liked his performance better than the Boseman's performance anyway.
Yeah.
It seems like he was more into it. Almost.
Yeah, but that's just...
Then again, he had more things to do.
Yeah.
He wasn't just he wasn't the title character who had to win.
Fair enough. So,
like
that's an excellent version. Others just, I feel like villains are just like they're the key back to Davy Jones from the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
He became corrupted via love loss, and then he went crazy. Like there's just so many good ones.
Is Namor a villain in the newest Black Panther movie?
Yes, Namor is a villain, and he is. He is not understandable. Like he's
We don't want to get into that movie anyway.
That movie was not as good.
Yeah, the primary problem is they gave vibranium to Atlantis for some inexplicable reason.
Yes.
Why? There's no reason for it.
No reason. So.
But whatever.
Yeah.
That's the primary problem with it, really, to be honest. It couldn't have just been magic. It had to be vibranium.
What's the one where the serial killer? Oh, Dexter. Dexter's a great one.
Oh yeah.
The antagonist that.
He's a protagonist technically, but he's also a villain because he's a serial killer.
Yeah.
But he only kills other serial killers.
Yes. So
including eventually his father. I think.
But he's like super understandable, and he's super like you understand his motivations. You understand like you don't understand
I've never actually seen the show, but why does he start doing that? Because he has a girlfriend or something?
What, becoming a serial murderer?
Oh no, why did he like just kill serial killers? Because he was taught to not kill regular people or something?
All right, so the way he worked is when he was a little kid, a serial killer killed his mother.
Mm-hmm.
And the head investigator on it found Dexter, and after like a couple months of dealing with him, saw that Dexter was also a sociopath or a psychopath. And he decided what he was going to try to do is see if he can make a way to guide this missile.
Okay.
So the whole concept was he spent all of Dexter's life creating a set of rules of how to deal with being a serial killer, the urges to kill people,
Oh, okay.
So he set up this big elaborate plan and backup plans on how to, curb Dexter. So the whole concept is like he goes through school, he's like graduates top of his class and stuff, and what he does like teaching them how to curb the monster, he calls it, or the rules, follow the guideline. So like before he kills somebody, he has to go through this checklist. So he used all his psychopathic tendencies, list making, and to create a way for him to not only just figure out kill serial killers, but to make sure they were the serial killers. So Dexter would do all this investigation, and then on top of it, he worked for a police station, so he had extensive files on like.
I was just wondering why eventually he started. I forgot because it's been a long time.
It was pretty much his adoptive dad saw that he was going to be a psychopath, so he decided to see if he could learn how to guide this missile. And you found out later he worked with like this crazy psychologist lady who was also kind of a psychopath. That's how she got like the basis of the research she used on herself is how she Did
she kill people?
No.
She was just kind of nuts.
Yeah, she was kind of nuts. Like she just used a different way to.
She's more like a conspiracy theorist kind of. Thing.
It was crazy. Maybe. Like she's also a psychopath, but her thing was like she did a different method to like curb her tendencies. Like so he took the basis of that to make these rules for Dexter, and it's really crazy.
I bet.
The show is really good all the way up until a certain point.
And then
it starts getting
repetitive, kind of.
Yeah, it gets like repetitive and.
Yeah.
Where like any show that goes on too long, they have to try to.
Well, plus you can't really do a lot with a character who doesn't really have the same emotions as other people.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to go with it.
The whole premise is not only does he not have the same emotions, but he has to pretend like he does.
Yeah.
And then what you find out is the more he pretends it, sometimes he actually starts to understand some of these connections. And it not like in the
reason why I mentioned the girlfriend because my friend loves Dexter. It's like his favorite show of all time.
Yeah,
his thing was like. He goes, Dexter got a girlfriend this year. Was her stuff. I'm like, how's that going?
So the relatable villain is always, if it's handled correctly, can be really good. Marvel just doesn't handle theirs very correctly.
There's more going with sympathetic rather than They're going with emotions rather than
feel bad
rather than what's actually happening.
Yeah, feel bad for them instead of like understand. The next category we're gonna go with is the self-interested, which would fall under like mob bosses,
any mob,
evil businessmen, government overlords, and career criminals. And there's tons of these. This is probably the most
Well, this one's the most broad, probably.
Yes, this is the most broad, probably most utilized.
Especially in Batman comics.
Yeah.
Because Batman's all about corruption, crime, and politics and all this other stuff. So, if you're talking about comic books anyway, if you're talking about movies, it's,
One of mine is Kaiser Soze from Usual Suspects. Like, he is a great self-interested career criminal where he uses all this manipulation to blow up this story that never happened. Well, you're not even sure if it did happen or not because so many people believe the legends of Kaiser Soze that you don't even know if what he was spitting was true or not.
Mm-hmm.
And he just uses it to be able to worm his way through every situation, and it's great. That's why I like Usual Suspects.
It's also a period piece.
Is it?
Mostly, well, it's because in the 90s, nowadays you just have an internet search and the guy would never get away with it.
Yeah, fair enough.
All the lies, he goes, oh, his face is in this database. Oh, it's that guy. Okay.
Got him.
It's that guy.
Yeah.
They didn't have that back then.
Oh,
You'd have
Kingpin is also always
yeah,
excellent.
Of course.
Self-motivated villain.
Of course, Albert Wesker. Got that guy in there. Of course, Lex Luthor, as we already mentioned. What else we got? A ton of comic book stuff, obviously.
Yes.
Technically, if you
Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. His is weird because he's the like fanatical kind of thing, but at the same time, everything he does is like a self-interested thing. Oh, this guy's ruining the symphony with his bad tuba playing. Better kill him and eat him.
Well, if you watch the prequel, it's like his defense mechanism against the world, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So.
Because he had to eat his freaking favorite brother or whatever. Sister.
Yeah.
That's why he went crazy.
Yeah. So. That's so good. With this being such a broad stroke, there's just so many of them that we can say are good. And can you think of any bad ones?
Well, there's bad movies, so usually they have bad antagonists or villains.
Fair enough.
Who's the villain in Velocipaster?
I don't know. I've never finished it. Nobody's ever stuck around.
It's somehow on Netflix.
We always have to Prime.
On Prime. Sorry.
So,
sorry, I'm chastened.
Ooh, Bulletproof Monk is a great one.
I've never seen that movie.
So,
I've seen Kung Fu Hustle. That's nothing. That's
a good movie.
It isn't a good movie.
So the villain for Bulletproof Monk was an old Nazi soldier that learned of the secret spell that could like make you borderline immortal. Like it gives you strength, speed, and pretty much makes you immortal. So he attacks a monastery to come after it, but there's a monk ran away with it with all the knowledge and the power, and of the scroll to protect it. And so then this throughout the whole movie, the Nazi somehow gets a company in the middle of America and operating to find all this. Like that's all.
Is this a Hong Kong movie?
No, this is a
Who is the main character?
Chow Yun Fat.
Really?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh yeah, I kind of remember this one, sorta.
This
one who's older, a little bit.
Nope, younger.
Oh, I don't really remember this one.
Oh, it was a bad movie.
Not as bad as Dragon Ball.
It was 2003, so yeah, it was really bad.
Not as bad as Dragon Ball. Nothing's worse than that movie.
Yeah.
Especially when the main actor is supposed to be Goku, doesn't even look Japanese at all.
Yeah, because Sean William Scott, the guy who plays Stifler in all the American Pie movies, was like the other main hero. It was a bad movie.
Sorry.
I watched it a couple times. And yes, you should be sorry for me for that.
I know you like your bad movies, but...
So, that one was just the villain's motivation.
So let me guess, you got like 20 minutes into Velocipaster?
Yeah, everyone quits before that. So the Nazi goes through all the problems to capturing the monk. He creates this billion-dollar corporation that does all this crazy stuff just so he can steal a monk's secret magical powers
To be immortal.
to be immortal. Yeah.
Well, that's worth it.
Yes, I get that.
Well, why couldn't he just? There are easier ways of finding a monk? Is it what you're saying?
I think he could have gone about it in so many better ways.
Oh, okay.
It was just really poorly written, and then he gets most of the power. And then he gets thrown off a cliff.
What?
Because Chow Yun Fat, what he did was he burnt the scroll that had the original incantation on it, and he had tattoos all over his body with the incantation on it, except for he left some of it out that he kept in his mind, so he could have a failsafe of no one getting the full power. Oh, it's so bad. It's such a bad movie.
Why did he have the tattooed on himself?
I don't know. And then
why couldn't he just hide the scroll,
and it gets
learn the thing, and then go away?
What gets even better is after he, because he's trying to find a successor for the next Protector of the Scroll for the next 150 years. The two characters, which is a boy and girl, and they somehow fall in love with each other for no reason.
Of course.
When he finally tells
Was Sean William Scott one of them?
Yes.
Oh boy.
When he tells him like the spell, and he transfers the spell over to him and the other chick, all his tattoos disappear and show up on them for some reason. For these things.
You know what the easy way would have been? Here's a scroll.
Yeah, read this.
Go away and hide and run for it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take out this dude.
This will make you immortal and bulletproof and all this crazy stuff for a while.
And then you give it to somebody else.
Yeah. And then you know what his excellent plan after that was? Since each of them have half the scroll written on their bodies, he takes the missing part that he has in his mind and gives each of them half. He's like, now this binds you together forever. I was like, I don't know if that's how relationships work.
Like I said, they should have just kept the scroll, added more action scenes.
Yeah. It was a...
And you could have the love story all you want.
Movie. It's got a 28%. Oh, sorry, 23%.
I feel bad for you, Chow Yun Fat. You were good in stuff with guns involved.
Yeah. So that was a great.
Was that around the time Dragon Ball came out?
Yes.
That was
that was a trash fire.
That was.
So I mean, with the self-interested villains, like, we don't need to go into a whole lot of detail with them because they're very self-interested. They're easy to understand. They want money, power.
Yeah,
they're very easy to understand, and they're very easy to write.
That's why Batman's so popular.
Yeah, because his villains are pretty easy to write.
They're either psychopathic, like Dollman or Joker or Professor Pig, or name one of those weird anatomical ones. They love them.
Yeah.
Or the political ones like Two-Face or Penguin. Or criminals like Riddler. Him.
Yeah, so he's always the right one.
Not the Batman Riddler, the real Riddler. The Batman Riddler is the Zodiac killer in the body of the Joker. So
that's a good example of one they went for. Because the sad part is they also went for an understandable version of that too, where they're like, oh, he was left in this orphanage and he was abused.
What does killing people have to do with it?
Well, that's why. Because
if he was doing it to survive as a criminal or whatever, I'd understand that.
No, he became like crazy because of the Waynes.
Because all the one guy was siphoning all the money away from the.
Yeah, so they were getting abused. All the kids were
getting
abused.
And Bruce Wayne knew nothing about this because he was a kid when it happened.
Yep, and Thomas Wayne was already
dead or whatever.
Pretty much.
It went away after they got killed, right?
No, it was before that. But before
I kind of forget the
before
story.
Thomas Wayne could do anything about it, his wife were killed.
All right.
Were
they killed because of that?
Pretty much.
Oh. That's lame.
By Maroney or whatever that was played by.
I remember.
That awful movie.
John Turturro's good.
Yeah.
It's not his fault.
Yes, it is. It's all his fault forever.
It sure is.
So, I mean...
That fight with Catwoman, that was weird. No, I remember that.
So, I mean...
That lasted way longer than that.
We gotta think of some other stuff as far as villains go. I mean, we have our all-time favorite. Your all-time favorite.
Everybody's all-time favorite. There's one in Marvel and one in DC. The Marvel one is Doctor Doom. The DC one is the Joker. Those are the two best ones in each universe. By far. Especially Joker. Because freaking, he's the most important one anyway.
Okay, yes, I'll give you that. He's the most important one.
Because he's easy to write for. So you can just do whatever you want.
Yeah, you can do
as long as people die and there's chemicals involved, you're good.
Yeah. And doesn't even have to make sense.
Well, maybe the categories are too broad, perhaps.
Maybe.
We also have to maybe find something, a category that's not comic book related. I just can't think of many. I'd have to look at more. Because obviously, most of the movie villains are like horror film people. Yeah. Or people who are in action movies.
Yeah, which they're just like, oh, this is for money or this is for power.
Right, it's usually a mercenary in a war movie or the enemy.
Yep.
So like a Nazi or whatever.
Or some idiot who wants to gain mystical powers and believes in some occultism or some other bullcrap like that.
Right. So like half the ones I have in my list are horror movies.
I'm trying to think. How about some video game ones?
I only have Super Mario and Sephiroth. I have Bowser, I have only
Super Mario.
I have Albert Wesker, Bowser, Robotnik, Sephiroth, and the other guy from Fantastic Four 7 that we talked about last time. Because I don't remember any of the Resident Evil ones other than Wesker, so Nemesis, but that's a beast one.
Fantastic Four 7.
Whatever, Final Fantasy.
Okay.
I got it confused. Because there's two FFs in my brain, and
I was sitting there going, Fantastic Four 7. I'm like, what?
I got it confused. Because there's two FFs in my brain.
Yeah, I know. But for me, I'm like, when was there a 7th movie? Oh my God. Did I have a break?
I remember that shirt. Every moron in Philadelphia is giving me compliments about it.
Oh. Yeah, get over my shirt. So, in games, there is... Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of understandable villains. There's a couple.
What? Kidnapping a princess isn't good enough for you?
Right. But there's ones that are just illogical. Like the Call of Duty series. Their villains are super illogical after Call of Duty 4 and after the Modern Warfare.
Well, the early ones didn't really have a villain. It was just
Makarov. Makarov, like Call of Duty 4. Well, the first couple for like
we're like Nazis.
Were just
Nazis.
Generic villain, the enemy.
Yeah.
Where when they turned it into a plot line was.
What about Metal Gear Solid?
Oh my God, that one's all over the place.
What's the one from Substance? The guy with the tentacle arms. At the end of Substance, you know the one where you have to do the pull-ups?
Oh, you mean 2? Metal Gear Solid 2?
That's what it's called, Substance.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That was Solid Snake, who was a clone, who was a third clone of Big Boss, who looked like Big Boss, but didn't quite have all the superior genetics. So he just kind of looked like Big Boss, and then he became the president.
Didn't Big Boss become president?
No, Big Boss never became president.
No.
Solid Snake became president, who looks exactly like Big Boss.
Oh. I wasn't paying attention.
His motivations were so weird. I did this to lure out the Patriots, which is an AI program, so I'm gonna lure them out so I can try to destroy them to free America.
Isn't the Patriots was that originally an AI program, or was that just a bunch of people that became an AI program later?
It was a combination of the two.
Because during the whole thing with the camouflage stuff, I forget what that game's called. Anyway,
4. Metal Gear Solid 4.
Anyway, there's a bunch of people that wanted to take over the world or what have you. I forget that.
The motive. Listen,
That was a great game, but I don't understand the plot lines really.
Metal Gear's. Listen, Shinji Mikami, or was it Shinji Mikami?
It's Kojima.
Kojima. Sorry, Shinji Mikami is the other guy that does like Lollipop Chainsaw and that kind of stuff.
Oh boy.
Kojima is a amazing storyteller because what he does is he starts to read the first 3 paragraphs either of a history book or something, and then he just goes from there.
Because I don't mind, the big boss is fine. Because like I said, the last game I played is the one with the the camo stuff.
Yeah.
And then you had the one with the mechs and stuff where they was old.
Yeah, it was 4.
Yeah. Which I got through like the first quarter of it, and I was like, I couldn't.
4 was amazing, but oh my god, so many cutscenes.
Yeah.
The very beginning sequence was over an hour cutscene without any gameplay.
That's terrible.
Oh yeah, it was.
Even for you, you like your cutscenes.
I was going crazy. I thought I broke the game. I was like, is something wrong with this game?
So he should have just had a movie. Why didn't he just make a movie?
Because
it wasn't going to sell as well as a video game?
I think. I mean, I think that's how he broke into it. Like.
So who was the villain in that one? Was that Big Boss?
4?
Was that Big Boss?
No, it was.
Because I know.
It was Revolver Ocelot.
Oh yeah.
Who had the arm of Liquid Snake, which you find out he had to re-cut off because it was possessing him.
It was sentient or something?
Yeah, it was possessing it. What you found out is it wasn't actually sentient. What happened was he put himself through a bunch of LSD psycho trips and forced to copy the personality of Liquid Snake onto his own person.
Why would he do that?
Because he's crazy. Everyone's crazy.
Why would Revolver Ocelot do that?
Because he was trying to help destroy the Patriots.
But Liquid Snake didn't care about anybody.
Liquid Snake.
He only cared about himself.
Oh
he just wanted power for himself. That's why he was trying to kill the guy at the first Metal Gear Solid.
It's so crazy.
Because the first Metal Gear Solid kind of made sense in a way because it was like just a standard action movie where you go through the bosses.
Yeah.
And at the end, Liquid Snake's just going, oh, I'm crazy. I'm going to take over the world.
I'm going to take down America.
Because I want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Not because of any reason.
So
I don't have orders. I just feel like doing it.
Yeah, right.
I don't have orders. That's why I like that game.
Yeah. So Metal Gear Solid's awesome.
It is.
It's so confusing.
So basically, all the characters are crazy.
All the characters are crazy.
Even Big Boss is crazy?
Yeah, Big Boss is extra crazy.
And why is that? He's just old?
Yeah, he's just
Was
old.
he genetically modified at some point?
No, he's just old. He's
seen too much. He's traumatized.
Yeah, and then he realized what happened with the AI program of the Patriots, so he did everything he can to dismantle everything so America could be free. It's so...
It kind of vaguely reminds me of Assassin's Creed. Because there's always like some sort of power that you have to have or destroy kind of thing. And there's always a conspiracy theory going on. I'm like, okay. It's good though. So that's like the whole thing was good. That's a lot of antagonists there.
Yeah.
All the crazy guys and
yeah, there's just all kinds of unnecessary motivations that counteract with each other.
And tentacle guys.
Yeah. Trying to think of some other good ones.
Oh, Silent Hill, Pyramid Head, but that's a monster.
That's
my favorite guy. But
that's more of an evil force thing.
I understand that, but I like Pyramid Head.
Because
you showed me the trailer for Retribution, Resident Evil Retribution with the two pseudo Pyramid Heads.
Yes,
they're terrible versions.
Yeah.
But
so I'm looking at this because now we're looking at my game collection of trying to think of villains. The way Silent Hill worked was evil cult worshiping Satan.
Mm-hmm.
To the town has an evil force and presence behind it. To the town has an evil force and presence to it, and there's a cult. To town has evil force and serial murderer. To cult and evil force again. To just evil force to subsection of the cult and evil force to evil force.
Okay, so the cult was originally worshiping the evil force and sacrificed that girl.
So yes and no.
Oh gosh.
They were worshiping an evil god.
Because I remember the girl thing.
Yes.
And that's why she was like the nexus for the whole dealy.
Yeah.
So she was using it to punish them or whatever.
Yeah, that's the movie.
That's the movie.
Yes.
That was a good movie though.
Yeah.
I got confused.
The Outlast trilogy is Evil Corporation. Evil Within, Evil Corporation.
I guess that's a theme in your video game collection, huh?
I've noticed. Well, yeah.
There's another Force one, Parasite Eve. I like that game.
I don't have Parasite Eve.
I know you don't, but I remember it.
Yeah, the Mitochondria. That's a good one.
I
gave
it. I either sold that or gave that to you at one point.
Yes, you gave it to me.
That's cool.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
Let's see what else I got here.
Oh, BioShock, corporate guy, self-interested.
BioShock.
He's also fanatic and a bunch of other things.
BioShock. That's actually a good one. They have two antagonists in there that were great. The first one is Andrew Ryan, who wanted to create a utopia.
Supposedly,
he wanted to create a utopia where everyone is entitled to the sweat from their backs.
It's basically a criticism of objectivism by Ayn Rand.
Yes.
So basically, if everybody starts doing whatever they want, eventually people will. If they don't get what they want, they'll go crazy and try to kill other people. That's basically what happened.
Yeah.
But
his motivation was like we shouldn't give to the poor, and only the best should have anything, and the poor should just.
Well, the wrinkle basically is the discovery of Eve or
Adam.
Adam. That was it. That was confusing.
That's when things started going downhill. But it was already going downhill before that because he wanted it all to be elites there, and then he realized he needs everyday schlubs to build things.
And then you can't be mean to everyday schlubs, otherwise they can just wreck everything you have.
Yep.
But then the Adam thing got the rich people really into it, and then they went crazy and started killing people, and then everybody started fighting each other. And then
the other antagonist.
And then he tried to outlaw it, and that didn't work either.
But during the whole time, the other antagonist showed up at that point, Frank Fontaine, who basically he manipulated Andrew Ryan, and it got to the point where Fontaine was so charismatic, he decided to use the downtrodden workforce to help him gain power. So it was really crazy. That whole storyline is crazy.
So Fontaine had a baby, implanted.
Took Andrew Ryan's baby,
infused it with Adam.
Infused it with Adam, erased its personality, and then made it like responsive to commands through key phrases.
First game was really good.
Yeah, the first game was really good. The second game was.
And then it got weird with Infinity.
Infinity was awesome.
Yeah, the first one was the DLC was weird.
Oh yeah, they
going back to BioShock.
They tried to retcon a bunch of stuff. The one where they just went to BioShock was good. That one was fine. It was the one after that where they tried to retcon and tie everything up in a nice neat bow that ruined everything. So I mean,
because I don't mind the fact where she was going back and just killing all the versions of that one guy or whatever. That was fine.
Yeah, but it got crazy as she was going through that, and then it's the one. It's the one after that where she meets with Frank Fontaine when he was pretending to be Atlas, and then it tried to circle around where it found out that the chick she killed in Infinity was like.
Because wasn't it technically the Infinity Universe was the one that allowed Adam to be a thing? It was like a feedback loop with the tonics or whatever.
No.
Or was it the other way around?
No, yeah, it was the other way.
Oh, way around. Okay.
The dude discovered that there was Adam, but he couldn't. It wasn't.
So he went to an alternate universe to get tonics.
No. He was talking to an alternate universe.
Oh,
found out about the sea slugs.
Oh, it was those people.
It was too hard for him to get sea slugs in a flying sky city. So then he found a way to like kind of make it an easier way, like a separate way.
Yeah, because they're not as powerful.
Yeah.
Generally speaking.
Yes. So
I like the gameplay of Infinity. It's just the story was crazy. And what was the deal with those people that kept talking to you? You know, the other two scientists?
Oh, that's
You can tell me later if you
yeah,
want
that's a
to.
whole nother conversation. But
So Andrew Ryan and Fontaine.
yep,
And what's his name?
Comstock,
He's a real person, you know.
Father Comstock.
But he was a real reverend in the 19th century. He was against a lot of things. I forget what he's against. Probably everything.
Yeah, he was as Yahtzee Croshaw put it, is he was a religious nut who believed his carpet, a racist religious nut who believes his carpet of indentured black slaves should feel grateful that he didn't step on shit that day as he walks across them.
So he's basically
He's a racist nutter.
Yeah, okay. That's the real guy, right?
Probably. I don't know about the real guy, but in the Bioshock Infinite, he was super racist.
Oh yeah, it was about you know.
I'm trying to think of other games I have that have good antagonists.
What's Condemned? No.
That one's pretty good. That one's wonky. I haven't played the second one, so I can't really.
Oh, okay.
The first game was a combination of people just going crazy, and then you find out there's a secret force behind everything, but you don't know yet, and then it turns into government conspiracy. It pulls in all kinds of directions. That was a fun game to play, and for being as old as it was, it scared the fucking piss out of me.
What was that game with the teenagers and the Yeti? You played teenagers in like a winter trip somewhere in a ski resort, and then
Oh,
I remember that one with the Yeti, or like a frost spirit or something.
Oh my god!
I forget what that's called, but anyway, it kind of reminds me of that
Oh my
for some
god!
reason.
It's the start of those movies those games that are super popular now. PS4 game or
Ski resort.
yeah. I don't think I'll need that far.
Mm.
Not the Quarry. Quarry is the newest one.
Until Dawn?
Yes, Until Dawn.
Maybe?
Yes, Until Dawn is exactly it. Which started all these other ones.
Really? I didn't know
Yeah, the
that.
Quarry is another.
I just remember you playing it.
I never played it.
Or somebody was.
Yeah, me.
You were watching somebody play it.
We were watching Scare Game Squad.
Oh, okay.
Title drop. Yeah, there's a lot of games.
So was that a Yeti or was that a Frost Spirit? Was it a Yeti?
Not a Yeti. It was a
Wendigo?
Yes, Wendigo.
Wendigo. That's a great game, by the way.
On that note, we're gonna call it a night here.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good night.
Night. Thank you.